Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with a new blast from the past. This time I'm going to share you something that today is already existing, has been relaunched about 2 years ago, but now I'm going to show you the edition of the 90s. So this is Necromunda. This was the first edition in Spanish, right? And this was launched in 96, okay, 1996. Quite interesting. Here you see all were metal except the meters that were coming in the starter set. And the meters in the starter set, they had two options for Goliath, two options for, what's the name of them? Was these ones for the Orlocks. So were Orlocks against Goliath, the starter kit, and were very limited in terms of options that you can put on them. So you had to buy the metal box. The metal box was pretty. Normally you were needing two boxes of metal miniatures, right, to have a good a warband with some options. So as you can see here, there will be some introduction, and then there is playing what is in the box of Necromunda, and then there is all the rules, and there is a lot of rules. If you have seen my video for Warka, they have very similar structure. Both games were launched quite close to each other in time, so they share a lot of similarities, right? So here you see these are the two options, okay, for the Orlocks. The only thing is they were different options, so they were more weapons than needed. So you can put shotguns, you can put las guns, you can put auto guns here, and this guy can have different type options for pistol. The knife was fixed. Here the same, knife fixed, different options for the pistol, and then you have the big Goliath with different options for the weapons. Okay, if you want a leader from this box, or if you want a rookie from this box, you have to do the conversion yourself or use proxies, right? So was going for the rule book, then there was the second book of the and there was 12 miniatures of Goliath and 12 miniatures of Orlock. Okay, 6 and 6. Okay, and then all the different parts. There were all the terrain here was a board base with plastic panels. Nice as well. All this was based on Warhammer 2nd edition, so we still see the jam, the random to know how many shooting, for example, some weapons were doing, and then we have also the typical disperse dice for dispersion, right? Okay. So the attributes similar to 2nd edition with movement, weapon skill, ballistic skill, strength, toughness, wounds, initiative, attacks, and leadership. Okay, this is the version, as I said, this is the version in Spanish. The turn was split very similar as today. Movement, shooting, close combat, leadership, recovery, or it's not called recovery. It's mainly the leadership. Movement very similar as it is today. The difference here was it was not like Necromunda today, right? So this was purely you go, I go. There was not, I think, was not so was player by player. So normally it was not. You were able to put in Overwatch, you were able to interact, but I have the feeling today there is much more interaction. But you have to think that a lot of this was like playing Warhammer 40,000 in a small scale. There is also, they talk about how the terrain, how it works, the shooting. So all this very similar, different covers. So cover, partial cover, no cover, okay, and was working very similar as today. So this is, the cover was working, giving -1 to hit or -2 to hit. So this is -2 to hit, -1 to hit. No, you can hit automatically. So it was not. 2nd edition was there were a lot of modifiers and all those things that you had to track. And I think for Necromunda and for Warhammer was working well. When you were scaling up was quite difficult. You can also what's called this. You can shake people, right? There were a lot of different type of, and then we have the different armors and how shaken warriors can react, and the movement and shooting. Okay, you will see some things can look similar. The flamer, what with the plate, the grenades. Okay, but it's mainly just for you. You have a flavor how was looking like, and how the books have evolved. You can see that everything was wet and wild, although there were a lot of nice artwork. I like this one, for example, here. This rat looks quite sick. Okay, so you can see this is all the leadership part, and now we go, and also they were hatred and frenzy, and they were all the different type of psychology that used to be in the past. Then we have the weapons, okay, the arsenal, the weapons here. We're starting with the close combat weapons. Okay, you can see all very detailed expression of each weapon. You were able to parry in the past even. Yeah, you see, you can parry with the sword. The different type of pistols. And this is my book. Here is damage. Then we have the automatic weapons, and then we have the special rules. When you have the melter and the plasma rifle, and the heavy weapons were the traditional ones. So we have the auto cannon, the heavy bolter, the plasma cannon, the heavy stubber, the last cannon. Right? You can imagine going with a last cannon, the missile launcher. So they were quite heavily armed. They were very expensive, but you were, and then you had all the different grenades that you can imagine, and the different armors, starting with the carapace armor, and the anti-frag, the chainmail, then different type of ammunition, and targeters, and and then they have all the bionic prostheses and the special equipment. So a lot of things that you can put, visors and batteries and all type of things that you can add to your weapon. Okay, so it will go faster here. Then we have the fast reference tables, and these are the different buildings or the different scenarios that you were able to build with the basic build that are coming in there. So this is with two. This is two sets. This is with one set. Okay, sorry if I have. Here we have at the end all the metal miniatures that they launch. Okay, so we see the Vanzar, the Ratskins. These are the bounty hunters, or the what's called this in English, the criminals or something like that. The fugitives. It's called. These are the fugitives. But also can be like the bounty hunters in a way. The Cawdor House. Okay, you see all the options for the Cawdor House. You were able also to buy them in blisters of 3 miniatures, if I'm not wrong. So we had the Orlog, and then we have the lake. These are all the lake. This was my favorite, the Escher and the Goliath. But I really like the Escher, and I like to collect, but as you can see, they were not that. These are where all the options available. Okay, here we see more metal painted miniatures, bright colors of the 80s. You can see how different was the style in the 80s with all these bright colors. So if I have to blur here to avoid it. Okay. Then we had the manual, right? Or the other second rule book, or how it's called this, and this is all about. So as you see, this is done with Rick Presley, Andy Chambers, and Jervis Johnson. I guess some of these names ring a bell to you. The illustrations are from John Blanche, Wayne England, and Mark Gibbons. And then there are additional illustrators, David Gallagher and Richard Wright. And then there are some short stories from Rick Presley and Wayne England. So you can see the same way that if you have seen my video of Camorca that were being in the picture, a lot of them are well here. So these were the manual. This was mainly the campaign rules and some background, right? They start with the introduction, and this is all the background about Necromunda. I will not go in detail on all this. So the map of what is Necromunda and how it's organized, and then we have all the different houses, and they explain about the houses. And here we have the main houses, all Goliath, Sherman, Shard, the Lake, and Cawdor. Then we have the commercial, the sub wall, okay. And we have all the different the skin rats. Then we have the bands here. Okay, and then they talk about the bounty hunters, and there is a lot of things here. Then they talk about how to create your band. And this was what was coming here. This picture is what was coming in the starter set. As you can see, there were the Orlocks, and then there were the Goliath. Okay, and here we see an example of how to build the warband. Okay, these are the example of the rosters. And then all the warbands were composed by a leader. This was mandatory. Then you have the gangers, you have the heavy guy. I think you can only have one heavy guy. Let me check. Minimum 3 warriors. You need a leader, and you can have maximum 2 heavy people, 2 people with heavy weapons. These are the only ones that can have heavy weapons. These are the normal gangers, and these are the rookies. Or the newies, I don't know how they were called in English. They were the little guys. Okay, you can pay for the weapons, and I think the limit was 1,000 credits, and you pay the weapons and the gangers, and then you make your warband. It was the same options for all the warbands, where there were not different between warband and the other. So in terms of personalization at this point, was less than what we used to see now in the current Necromunda. Then you have all these rules about wounds, and this was all, and experience, and this was all the aftermath after a battle, right? How to win abilities and gain experience and all these type of things that you like from a campaign. And then you can start personalizing your type of your heroes, right? And sorry, this is quite damaged, so you have the different abilities, and this book was really need to repair this book because it's really damaged. So then you have your territory, and depending on the territory you win more or less credits that you can invest later on your warband. And then also you have a table of territory, so depending on the territory some things can happen to you. And then they also were linked to the missions, and you can try to steal territories from your opponent, so you also need to track your territories. And depending on the territory as well, you can know if you can buy the weapons can be common or can be rare, right? And then there were limitations depending if you wanted to buy common or rare things. And this is short history, and then you have all the bounty hunters. Okay, so here we have the different bounty hunters and how much they cost. And then these are the skin rat scouts. I guess they are explorers. I don't know exactly how they were translated. Here we see how to develop a campaign. And here is what my book is completely destroyed now, and we have the different scenarios. Here we have all the different scenarios to play the campaign, and all the so it's a lot of detail in each of these scenarios. Okay, and of course they were encouraging you to use your own scenarios later on. So you can see it's 5, 6, 7 scenarios that you can play. Okay, and this is the roster, and this is the summary of the. So it is the summary how the campaign evolved, right? So all the aftermath, you can go here at the last pages, and you can see the summary. As you can see, I used this quite a lot in the past. We play quite a good amount of games in the old times, and I really enjoy it. This is why now I like to collect Necromunda, although I don't have opportunities to play because I don't know players around here. It's a game that always attracts me. This post-apocalyptic look, right? Because at the end, have this type of post-apocalyptic group with different warbands. So this was coming on the basic, but then sometime later they launch Desterados. I don't know how it's called this. Well, this was a supplement called. I have not seen the translation here. This is from '96 as well. Okay. And yeah, I don't know why they don't put the translation of the book here, the original name in English. This was done by David Gallagher. Checking if it's the same. No, it's a different person for this one. With was mainly David Gallagher. Okay, and here you will see things that we have not even seen today, and I'm curious if they will put it or not, because was like the predators from the upper level. So this was the people from the upper part of the city that were descending with super high-tech equipment to kill gangers. It was like a sport for them, right? So this again, it came with a new building. This building had an elevator that you were able to move up and down. Okay, all was board and plastic, car with some plastic panels. They talk about the life of the prosecuted, or these are the ones that are prosecuted by the law. Okay, again, more about the bounty hunters. And then this is here the warehouse of these people. And they were, I think these are rules to make a ban with these people, or not. I don't remember this. This was a long time ago. So they start with scenarios here. Okay, so we see, I think they start the other way around. Then they will go to, so we have here more scenarios, and we go to the, how do you call the steroids in English? So the steroids is when they are kicked out of your home country, right? I forget the name now in English. So these are the scavengers, and you see that it was the leader of the scavengers. Then there was the scaly ones, and here I will show you one meter because I cannot have it here. So, but these were metal. I have one of these meters. They were quite interesting ones. I use a lot of them for my. Had some metal meters of them, and again I'm using them for my Renegade Guard at the end, because I stopped playing Necromunda and then I want to make use of them. As well, they had some experience. The scavengers meant you have the zombies, the big guys, and then they have the scavengers and the scavenger leader, right? Then we have the redemptionist, and these are the I know I regret not to have these miniatures, because these were some of my favorite miniatures, where you have the priest and the brother. It was like a brotherhood of zealots, again with their own rats, and then we have the renegades, skin rats. Okay, so you can be able to do a warband of skin rats, not just hire them as a bounty hunter. And then you have predators from the cuspid, from the top, right? And these predators were represented, they were like, so you have subtypes, the Jacara, Yield, Malkadon, and Horus, and they were guys, noble guys that were going to the Underhive just as a sport, right? And demonstrate their value. So we have new weapons, and also we have the pitch gladiators. You see, this is the new type, the scale ones, and new equipment. So just to add even more variation to our onto the initial book. So it was quite interesting expansion. I think they were adding a lot. I like a lot what was coming. So we have here again more about the bounty hunters. The bounty hunters have been always an important part of Necromunda, and here they were also the first rules also for the psychers. Okay, see, these are the sorcerers, which are called here, and we have some rules for then is also the demonic possession. There were some rules for the psychers, and they were military, I think, for the psychers, if I'm not wrong. Okay. So these are all the psychic powers for psychers, and then there were special characters. like the Ark Sacerdote of Redemption. There were different type of special characters here. Here is where we have Madonna. Okay. We have this guy that have implanted what's called this Gorg bull. He implanted a chain sword in his arms. So we have now the Carlot Valois, who was a psyker. So, and then we have advanced rules for campaign. Okay, so these are advanced campaigns. Here we see these are the chambers again. Right. He was very involved on all this. I like they put from that time pictures of the people. Okay, then we have advanced confrontation. Okay, we have a purge. So different type of rules to make more thematic campaigns, right? Especially if you play one of these warbands that are more like the Redemptionist or something like that. And here we go to the end, so you can see there were a lot of rules, and yeah, this is just I will not stop. So here we see there's also different special rules for predators, like the killing bats, right? Or the scavenger bats, or the Milsaurus, or the intelligent plant. There were crazy things here. The slash worm. Then we were the inframen, right? So this is the cultist, because this is the what's called this? No, the neophytes, right? Scavengers, mutants, beastmen. So all this was here, and even there were rules for aliens. So here we have rules for Elder Scout, Orcs and Gretchings, Genestealer hybrids, Magus Genestealer, and then we have given rules for the Chaos Space Marines here, right? And you also have rules for Demons of Corn. Of course, we have Lemon of Slaanesh or Stange and all. So a lot of rules. Here you see now some pictures. This was the Madonna Villadonna. One was one of my favorite miniatures, maybe. Here you see one of the Guild Predator from this Cuspid Predator. This is the special character, the Valois. Okay, so you can see, and here we see more. This is the Malcadon. This is the Jakara. Okay, so quite interesting. This is another of the predators. This was the Orus. Okay, wearing this type of power fist. So yeah, was a little bit different, but I think today Necromunda have modernized. I remember this was 2nd edition Warhammer 40,000. All the rules were based on that, so very similar to its Shadow War Armageddon. And now we have different rules for Necromunda, and yeah, it's a completely different game. But if you play Shadow War Armageddon have the same rules of this Necromunda, or very similar, but they were almost very close cousins. And also Gorka Murka has very similar rules to Shadow War Armageddon. So that's all what I want to share here. I hope you have liked this one. It's an old, as well, quite a long video, but I want to talk to you about what was Necromunda in the 90s. So that's all for now. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Please give a like if that is the case. And as usual, thanks a lot for watching. I'll see you again later. Bye.